Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 22 of the Zion Experience, TZE. We've got some special guests that we're really excited to talk to today, Lauren and Victoria. I'm going to introduce them in a little bit, but for our audience members out there, if this is your first episode, welcome. If you have been to several episodes, if I can talk today, if you've been to several episodes or you get to see all of our episodes, thank you for coming back. If this is your first episode or you're not already subscribed, you can subscribe to us. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Deezer. We're on really anywhere you can find a podcast. This show is uploaded and saved to. The video portion of it is I think exclusive to YouTube right now. Maybe on Spotify. I can't remember, but we've been doing this almost a year now, Jordan, and it's always fun to get on and hard to believe we've done 22 episodes and we've had some just wonderful guests, some great conversations, and we enjoy doing it. So episode 22, thank you all for joining us. Let me tell you what the episode's about first, then I'm going to introduce our guests. So today's episode, the topic that we're going through is how to build an effective marketing strategy. So a little preview into who Victoria and Lauren are. They're an extension of Zion at Carlton Creative. They've been our marketing group and partners and team since we started Zion. They were actually one of the first, if not the first business partner we formally had a relationship with. And we knew when we started Zion, we needed marketing. And we can talk a little bit about where that came from because we got some common people and friends that connected us in relationships. And it's been a wonderful thing. So we're going on almost 2 years of that. And with that, let's talk about who Carlton Creative Company is. So I'm going to introduce Victoria first. Victoria is the founder. She is a resident globetrotter. She often has a ever-changing Zoom background, so we see Victoria in different places all the time, and she's never failing to stay on the ball while traveling. So she's truly remote. She can talk a little bit about why that is because I think it's a cool story. I won't steal your thunder. Victoria brings a proven record of successfully managing large, complex projects for enterprise organizations, and her skills are collaborating with executives while coordinating budgets, timelines, teams, and project requirements. This all has enabled her to have a bird's eye view across various teams. So she likes to get involved and has a very diverse skill set. And then our other guest is Lauren, who is a brand marketing specialist. And Lauren specializes in creating high-performing marketing plans and strategies that increase the awareness of stature for her clients. She's responsible for directing high-quality traffic and aiding the acquisition of new customers through organic and paid channels. With an analytical eye, Lauren plays a vital role in the expression of her clients' brands through marketing. She's a graduate of the Terry College of Business at the University of Georgia. Go Dogs, right? Is that what you say at this point? Go Dogs. I'm not. Lauren also has the skills to share meaningful stories in an effective way. When she's not at her computer or a local coffee shop, which is normally where we see Lauren, is one of those two, usually at the coffee shop working. She enjoys spending time hiking and skiing in the incredible mountains, which I'm jealous of, where she lives in Colorado. So, ladies, thank you all both for joining us. We're excited to talk to you. I said before we started the recording of this is probably overdue, but sometimes we're a little slow to get things done. And so we're super glad to have you on. We're excited to hear what you have to say today. And if you want to further introduce yourself before I turn it over to Jordan for some questions, did we do a good job, or is there anything else we need to say about Victoria and Lauren?
That was spot on, Jimmy. Thank you so much for the introduction of both of us. And again, thank you for having us as guests. We couldn't be happier. And I feel like it was slow because I kept trying to put it off like, no, we don't need to go in the spotlight. We love being behind the scenes with Zion. So thanks again for having us.
And that's Victoria for people watching and hearing the voice, because we've got two of them on, and I fail to remember sometimes that you aren't in the room with me. So that's Victoria. And then Lauren?
Yeah.
Did I describe you well?
I think you described me well. And I mean, Victoria mentioned it. I've been behind the scenes for on Zion for a while, so we just kind of put it off, and it's long overdue.
Well, we're glad to have you. And Jordan is going to be leading most of the questions today. And for those that know Jordan and I and us and our relationship, he said I've been talking too much all morning. So I told him, congratulations. He gets to do all the talking on or majority of the question asking, because I usually dominate this and he doesn't get a chance to jump in. So Jordan,
Well, I wish we could.
I'm hand it completely over to you.
No,
and
you
you
won't.
got
I wish we could open up a poll right now, and we would say right here, who wants to take a bet? What's the over under a percentage of talking? We got in trouble for this recently, but I've got a little note taker, and so does Jimmy. And as part of it, what's cool about it is after the call, it'll say the percentage of time spoken by person. Right. So, we're an analytical company. Data drives our decisions. And there's facts to back up my belief of Jimmy talking. But I'll give him some defense. It's usually good content. He does a much better job than I do. So, I got to prop him up a little bit. Thanks, guys, for getting on and joining. I'm excited to do this as well. And I know we kind of had some questions we talked about, but I just wanted to open it up with Lauren, you're out in Colorado. You say you like to ski. So where's the places we like to ski? I've been to Vail and I've been to Breckenridge. Those are my only two places out in the area. So I'm interested of your opinion.
Well, I love Vail. Vail's probably one of my favorites, but it's not on my pass this year. So I actually have the Icon Pass. So I'm typically a frequent at like Winter Park, Copper, and Arapahoe Basin. So those are typically where I have been skiing this season. Can say great things about Breck, but it's not for snowboarders. So if you're a snowboarder,
you're a snowboarder.
I'm not a snowboarder, but I tell like any of my friends or anyone that comes, Breckenridge has a lot of catwalks, so you're going to be walking a lot of the time. Yeah. As a skier, it's okay, but that's why I don't love Breck as much.
Yeah, I got it. But you're a skier, not a snowboarder.
But I'm a skier. I've been skiing since I started to walk. My parents got me up on skis, and then I took a 10-year break when I no longer lived in Colorado, and now got back into it when I moved back.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But just kind of get in the car and go out and go skiing, or if you get done early on a day. And we have one place near here called Perfect North, and it's very, very weather dependent. They manufacture snow, but like today, I think it's getting up to the high 40s or low 50s, and it's hard to ski and that type of temperature. But
but Jordan, this year I'm expecting her to do at least one Zoom call from the slopes, because I saw this hilarious video where it's a skier and they have a snowboarder in between their legs, and they have their legs propped up and they put the laptop on top of the snowboard and they take a call from there.
So if you try to call me on a Friday, chances are I'm on the mountain.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I've got two quick stories about my skiing. So the two times I've gone out there, I've gone out with people that don't know how to ski. Okay. So the first time I went to Breckenridge, we started on the easiest slope. I think is that green, right? Green's easy. So it was a green slope, and we're going up. We get up it, and it took us. I am not joking. Probably not me, but it probably took the guys I was with probably an hour to get down this green slope because they just could not stay vertical. But I finally got them, and there's a point in Breckenridge, I don't know what peak it's on, where you kind of go up a lift, and it does like a 45, and you keep going up. And they thought where it turns is kind of where you get off. Well, you don't. And we kept going up and up and up, and two of them were just sweating bullets out of their snow outfits. And one of them comes down, and he just takes a spill. So I'm like at the halfway point waiting for him. There's a ski patrol there. And he starts getting his radio. Oh, we got another one. Everyone stand by. We may have an injured skier here. And you see him throw his poles, throw his skis, and stand up. He said, disregard, just a frustrated, bad skier. We're good. And then he comes skiing down. And the other story, I was actually in Utah, out near Park City. And it was my brother-in-law, and he's never skied. So I had my 8-year-old daughter with me at the team. She had no problem. Chris could not make it down the slope. The next thing we knew, he was in the back of a snowmobile with one of the ski patrol people, skis on his back, coming down the slope. So I need to go with somebody like you that can actually ski, so I can actually check the parks out.
Yeah, it's fun. But I will say kids pick it up a lot quicker because they're closer to the ground. So when they fall, it's easy for them to just get back up and keep going.
That's a good point.
So,
And then Victoria, I know Jimmy mentioned your ever-changing background. I don't know if you wanted to just take a minute to talk around more about you and why we're always visiting different places.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. So I'm actually visiting different places all the time because I travel with my husband, who is a professional baseball player. So for about 6 months every year for the baseball season, we are on the road. And typically there's a different game in a different city every 3 to 4 days. So it's a lot of different cities, a lot of traveling. I like to travel either in the early morning or late at night so I can work and it's less disruptive. But that's why all the changes. It's a lot of hotel backgrounds usually.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a prop up too, because I think it's pretty incredible that you're able to found a company, run a company with that kind of travel and commitment that comes with it. So I think it's pretty impressive. I admire it. It's not easy to do. We travel a lot. My excuse is usually I'm traveling, so don't expect an answer from me. And then when I get back, I try to catch up in 2 hours of a week's worth of work. But so kudos to you. And that kind of leads me to my next question. It's just, can you, either one of you, give a little bit of a background of Carlton Creative? What is the story? How did it come about? What's your mission? What do you set out to do?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the mission of Carlton Creative was really born out of just trying to find something that worked in everyone's lifestyles and not being tied down to a 9 to 5. I needed something like that after I had graduated with my master's degree and got married to my husband. And it was really tough to find something like that before COVID. And then COVID hit, and it was kind of like, a light switch where it was way easier to work remote and it became more widely accepted. That's how I started gaining more clients as a freelancer. And then, I got to this point where I was sharing that with interns and other students who were working with me. And I wanted to build a team and share that kind of vision with others and go from there. And Lauren will tell you, but she was actually one of my first interns. And then, she went off to a corporate job and then came back a couple of years later.
Yeah, it's awesome. Lauren, you got anything to add?
yeah, no, I would just say Victoria touched on it. I interned with her and Carlton Creative. Well, I was at the University of Georgia still. So I interned with them in the supply chain industry for that client. But after graduating, I stepped away and wanted to try what a normal 9 to 5 looked like. And after about a year in that role, was like, okay, I'm reaching back out to Victorians. What does it look like to come back? Like the flexibility of the job, the creativity that I get as an outlet. And so we rejoined the team and have been here since.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's pretty cool. We do a lot of things for our employees, our team, to try to, we don't believe in rigidity. We don't believe in a structured way of getting things done. We really believe in empowering our team members, giving them a lot of trust, but still holding them accountable. And some of the things that we do, a lot of companies are starting to do, but remote work, we're open to that. And the unlimited PTO is a new one, but we trust in our employees to use it wisely, and we encourage them to use it. And I think what we find out of that is you get more engaged employees, you get employees that are more loyal to you, and every now and then, you'll get somebody who wants to try something different, and we support them in that. You want somebody to do what they want to do, but I can tell you that we've been humbled by the amount of people that have just said, hey, we like what you have going on. We really want to come work with you. So creating that attractive culture, which Victoria, it sounds like you've been successful at doing while traveling the world, is a really cool thing that you should be proud of. And I think that's going to continue to let businesses shine. And I think you're going to see more and more of it, but you can't fake it. You got to be authentic with it. You got to be real about it. So.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a hard task to do, but you're right, Jordan. And I love the way Zion has cultivated it as well. And, because I am the one who's traveling all the time and here, there, everywhere, working odd hours, it's like, you can't be a hypocrite. I have to have the trust in my team that they can provide that same level and work in the environment that's going to work best for them. So you're totally right on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it kind of leads me to my next question. And I am going to let Jimmy speak after this. He's done well. We've been going for a bit. And the reason I want to let Jimmy speak is because Jimmy, while he's president and one of the co-founders of Zion, also takes his time to work very closely with the two of you on our marketing strategy. And I don't know a lot about it, but I am curious from you guys. I know the importance of marketing, and Jimmy and the two of you and Carlton Creative as a whole have done an awesome job at the brand awareness of Zion. And I just want to get from your guys' perspective, and Jimmy, please chime in. When you're looking at a strategy around marketing, what do you guys consider a marketing strategy? How do you go about it? And I think I've been learning more about the amount of money that people invest into marketing, but you can't just spend it. You got to have a purposeful way of doing this. How do you guys go about doing it? Or what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Sorry, Jimmy, still no talk time. But, the most important piece of having a marketing strategy is it's tied back to business goals. And because of that, we usually are really intimately involved with our businesses where we know what their 5-year vision is, what their plans are, where they want to be. And then we look at, okay, how can marketing support you to achieve those goals? Like, let's fill up the various buckets that you have and help you find your target audience to do that.
Yeah, awesome. Jimmy, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I can't see it from the same lens that Lauren and Victoria do, but I think we spent a lot of time focused on at the beginning of what are the pillars of our marketing strategy, what's important to us. And you can fill in some of the blanks. Is it sales material? Is it brand awareness? Is it social media presence? I think there's some pillars. And so what it's evolved over time, because you all work with some people that have a lot of big ideas. I think that we have to put a parking lot list out there, but ultimately the direction is, I think you all did a really nice job of listening to what our goals were, like you said, Victoria. And then, all right, how can we complement that? And you've got to balance budget. You've got to balance how you spend your dollars. You got to balance where you put your effort. And then I think you've got to be consistent to it. It's one of those things. I think, Jordan, you said it during one of our strategy. I think it was you. It might have been Drew. One of us said, you or Drew said, let's pick something and stay with it for a while. And I think when you've got people, you all do a really good job of saying, this is what we committed to. And we do that on an annual. I think you refresh it annually, but I think it was new to me, Jordan. You said it. It's like, I'm an industrial engineer. I would not consider myself a marketing genius. And so we went out with people that's what we find, a good partner like we have with Carlton Creative and you two, to say, fill in those blanks. We got a lot of ideas, but they may not work. And so that's, I think, how we pulled the marketing strategy together. It's not really a one size fits all. I don't think. You all may say it's different, but our industry especially is, Lauren, you've been in it. You're kind of a resident. You've got almost 2 years in it, and our industry doesn't lend itself to true, I can't talk today, traditional marketing. It just, you're not cold calling. You can't lead generation that way. And it's more about brand awareness, tying relationships, tying people to the brand. And then ultimately, how do you edge into the technical aspect of what we do and how we service customers? So
Yeah,
I call
certainly.
it the three legs of the tripod is relationships, brand, and then ultimately products and technologies, what you do. And that's how we develop the strategy, Jordan. That's what we've been focused on, how we do it.
Yeah.
And whether someone's, sorry, Lauren, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Whether someone's available now to start talking and have that conversation and move forward together from a business point, or they're not, you just want to be top of mind. And by being consistent, by making sure that you have this marketing strategy in place, when the need arises, businesses will think of you first and come back to you in that way.
Yeah. And I think too, what encompasses into that market strategy is also looking at competitors, looking at those to differentiate what are they doing in the marketplace and where can your brand, so in this case, Zion, stand out beyond them, but also like what seems to be working for them in this industry and that we should maybe test out, or this is what we need to try. Because without that overarching strategy, you'll be sending multiple different messages out that's not consistent across the brand, where it's going to confuse your audience member of, one person is saying this, but then the other person is saying this. So it dilutes the main message when there's not that consistency and strategic approach from a big picture.
And I think that's a tough thing, the consistency, especially for me. And I say that because I lead our sales team, and obviously marketing is a huge part of the success or failure of a sales team. It's critical. And I think when I look at you guys, we talked on the marketing strategy and some of the ways that you can approach it, but you do have to have a vision. You have to be somewhat of a visionary, right? And you have to be able to break that down into actionable and executable items that you can follow. And then Jimmy, you earlier, that was Drew that said, let's pick something and stick with it, right? But knowing how long the sales cycle is and knowing how important marketing is, how do you guys gauge the success of that marketing strategy? You know, how do we know we're on the right path, and how much time do you give, and how do you guys go about that?
Yeah, honestly, we do a lot. I as you mentioned, I'm data kind of minded through and through. So we pull a lot of data from our monthly metrics. We do a comprehensive report at the end of every month for all of our clients. So here's how your posts performed. Here's how your website's performing. Here's what's driving traffic to like a certain link, whether for us it's our Calendly link to try to schedule a meeting, or the website just to learn more. We use a tool and platform called Measurable, and that gives a comprehensive view. So I think that's how we measure a lot, to where you can't just look at one platform on the success of your marketing strategy, because you may have a different approach to an overarching strategy based on the platform. And so to look at a comprehensive bird's eye view gives you that ability to do that.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
and especially on the strategy point of view, you can make easy pivots. And, those numbers are going to talk to you once you get in there, and it's going to show you there should be a metric associated with goals. And that's kind of how we approach things. And when we're not hitting or meeting that goal, then we know that a pivot needs to be made. Or when we are hitting or meeting one, then we know, hey, let's try more in this area because it's really resonating with the audience right now.
Yeah. And that's typically what we look at is impressions, engagement, click-through rates. Especially when we look at click-through rates, we especially look at that if, hey, is that have a link to like an external website or our website, or does it have a link to schedule a meeting with us? Tracking what those content items or what that looks like, and using those metrics to guide and pivot on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Jordan, we were going through in the Pinnacle exercise. We went in, and one of the challenges for the different areas of accountability that we have is to create, like, what are the KPIs to measure it. And so when I look at traditional marketing KPIs as it relates to our business, it's not as easy. Ours is not as linear. You think about some organizations in marketing, they can run an advertisement on a product line or a product, and then you can tell whether you've got a cost of acquisition, metric, or you've got a sales metric, or there's different types of metrics. And so I would agree, some of the stuff you all see it, Jordan, we share it. We shared it for the first time with the entire team, just because we believe that the more team engagement we have, the more team awareness we've got. There's statistics out that we've seen that is you'll have 6 to 8 times the engagement if your team's involved. You can create and increase it that way. So we track a lot of metrics, and I think some of them they tell us, and you nailed it. It's like we make little pivots, like the post time. We pivoted. We haven't changed it for a long time, but we went from let's try this time instead of that time. Let's try these days instead of that time, and you can see how they perform on something like a LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and I could be wrong on this, but it feels like one of the
I'm gonna get my battery charger, Jordan. I'm gonna get my battery charger because my computer just told me it's about to die. So you're all gonna see me leave, and I'm gonna come back.
Okay. All right. No, I was just gonna say, I think one of the early goals for us from the marketing standpoint, we started working with Carlton Creative, was around brand awareness and the fact that we were a new company. We were, at the time we were 4 people. We had experience, we had relationships, but Zion Solutions Group was a new company. It was new terminology, right? And I think what's been pretty cool from an actionable result standpoint is that when we go through and we walk through trade shows, it's evident that the brand recognition is there. And, it could be the colors, it could be the logo, it could be the content, whatever it may be, the combination of everything. But people will either say, man, I've been seeing what you guys are doing and it's really awesome. Or they'll say, man, I know I've seen you guys somewhere. Where have I seen you? So I think it's pretty cool that you can see the effectiveness of a pre-planned successful strategy come out in the form of complete strangers coming up to you and saying, you guys are doing awesome. Keep it up. So I think that's just the power, in my opinion, of what you guys have done, what an effective marketing strategy can do, and how important brand awareness is.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning that, Jordan, because that's like music to my ears. That makes my day, my week, my month. Those are the KPIs that I'm looking for. Is I want our clients to be recognized, and when they walk in the door, someone already knows who they are, what they do, and have that awareness. And I say it all the time, but that's not actually a KPI, right? There's no metric that I can actually pull that's going to show you that. That's actual touch points that you get to have on a daily basis when you're in front of clients or on an event floor. So that's awesome. And I'm so happy to hear that. But, hopefully one day we got to start tracking that somehow. I don't know how that is yet, but one day.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll find a way. That's part of what we're doing earlier. Jimmy talked around, we're going through a process with Pinnacle, and it's a business operating system. And we all had to sit in a room and figure out who's accountable for what functions. And then within that function, you had to list the top 5 accountabilities of that function. So as an example, marketing is one, right? And what are the 5 key things for Zion from a marketing standpoint? And then you had to come out and create some KPIs. And, for us, we've been through a lot of strategy. We've done it for several years, and we've all been in different levels of it. But what we have found as an effective KPI, it's not always just a number. Yeah, it's important sometimes, but other times there's other ways of measuring. It could be, how many times has a post been reshared as an example, or it could be how many times have we received an inquiry from somebody that we didn't know, right? So you try to think a little bit outside the box to see how much your awareness is getting out there. But, Lauren, earlier you mentioned a tool that you use for tracking metrics. Are there any other tools that you guys use or see that's of value that you want to talk about?
Yeah.
It's okay if there's not.
No, we actually, we use Google Tables, which is very similar to Asana or Monday.com, but it's a project management tool that's built within the Google Workspace. And that has given us the ability to see a project and even just a client from a month-to-month basis, a bird's eye view of what's all the moving pieces going on in your marketing strategy. Do you have an email campaign going out to partners? Do you have, or to customers or internally, that we can easily view what everything is going on and when, so that we can see where's the gaps, where do we need to be filling in, or hey, we're really heavy on this one area. What if we need to shift and pivot to go and to make sure we have a touch point through this medium? So we use Google Tables just to also track that progress throughout the month and throughout the projects, just to also have transparency and accountability with our team as a whole.
Yeah.
And another thing with those tools that we use, I think, the most important thing is to make sure that content is firing across the board, all on the same messaging. So, if we're working on email campaigns with one super important theme for that month, then social should be supporting that in some way, because ultimately your audience has the opportunity for multiple touch points, or, you can make that into more bite-sized pieces through social than you have on an email marketing campaign. And I kind of love what you said about sales and marketing working together, Jordan, because I think that's really important too. And kind of the only way to be successful is if the two teams can talk to each other, work through things, hear feedback, because ultimately sales are the people who talk to the customer, because you want to have a customer-centric approach. And if we're not aware of, what is the customer actually saying, what are some of their pain points, then it's hard to address that through our marketing and communications work.
Yeah, and I can tell you it's so much better for me to have a conversation with a new prospect or lead when the question is, can you help us with this versus what do you do, right? So having that initial question answered and now they're coming to you to see if you can help them with a specific thing, you take so much time out of the process, and you're already getting to the table almost qualified, right? So it's just little things like that may not seem impactful, but from me being in that seat and talking to people, it's just a giant difference in how that conversation could go. Yeah, right. Victoria just put in the chat, providing better value faster. 100% agree with that. I do have a question on Carlton Creative, and I don't know the answer, but you guys, we have Zion, right? And we're in kind of that supply chain industry. Do you guys work across other industries? Are you across all areas? Or why don't you take a minute and talk about that, about Carlton Creative?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big question, and it's a hard question. I would say yes, we are across multiple different industries, and the reason being is because Carlton Creative works on a referral basis. So we don't do a ton of business development of going out and seeking clients. We usually are relying upon awesome clients like Zion introducing us to other businesses that they interact with who might have that need. And just because you have a friend who owns another business or knows somebody who has that doesn't mean that they're going to be in the same industry. So that's how we've kind of really diversified in that way. Another reason being is because we work with a lot of other vendors who are consultants. And when they come onto an account and they need a marketing resource, that's how we get involved. So it's really just given us a lot of diversity in who we've gotten to work with. We work a lot in SaaS, and health. I was thinking about those two together and then I combined them in my head. And then it's mainly B2B businesses is what I would say. And then we have a little bit of B2C, which is a whole different beast in and of itself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, I got the 10-minute warning. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Give you the opportunity to ask me the questions that you have.
I think you've hit. I mean, honestly, I'm waiting for like the last question. I look at the questions the day of the conversation, and I think we could have some fun with the very last question. But the only one I really had is what's the connection? I know Marty Parker is a common person that we know. Help me, you probably told me this before, Victoria, but how were you connected to Marty?
So it just very organic connection. So my very, very first freelance client that I ever had said, Victoria, you do awesome work. You need to diversify, work for other clients. I'm going to introduce you to a couple of people that might need your services. Let's see if they'll bring you in. My second business ever brought me in. Marty was already working on that client as a COO for them. And we really just hit it off. He was kind of, this big scary guy on Zoom. I was actually very intimidated at first because he wasn't talking very much yet. We're on a call and I was like, oh, geez, I really hope that I can impress this guy. After the meeting, I get an email from him that says, hey, Victoria, I'd like to speak with you. Can you please give me a call? And that's I was so scared. I was very nervous when I got that email. And I call him and he goes, Victoria, you had incredible lighting on your Zoom call. I just started doing Zooms. Can you please tell me how to set that up? And the rest is kind of history from there. We just really hit it off. And he's definitely not the intimidating type of guy at all. He's very caring and passionate about what he does. And since we kind of hit it off and we started working together on his clients, bringing him into clients that I worked with, and then ultimately he knew Drew, and that's how he had introduced us. He knew that you guys were cooking up Zion, and he thought we'd be a great fit, which I'm so grateful that he did because, 2 years later, I think we are a great fit for each other, and I love to see the way Zion has grown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's cool. And I was thinking about the remote side. I was just sitting here. I don't know that anybody's met each other in person other than Victoria and I once. And I came to Louisville. I think I met you at a baseball game. I may have had James with me, but I think
Victoria
I met you.
Didn't we meet each other? Weren't you at a trade show a couple years ago? Did you?
I was at a trade show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I came to Modex in Atlanta.
Yeah, you weren't there
very briefly.
You were on your I think your Patagonia.
I was hiking Patagonia.
Yeah. So we got to meet Victoria there with Marty. It's the first time I met him too. Is that Modex?
Gotcha.
The day we launched Zion.
But we haven't met you hadn't met any of us in person yet, have you, Lauren?
I have not met any of you in person.
You are in for a treat when you get to meet us in person.
Well,
I'm taking bets
because I'm quite short.
Yeah.
I see all of you guys and your heights compared to each other. I'm like, I'm just gonna be a shrimp.
Well, it's I'm I can't move. I'm the shortest of the bunch. You can kind of see everybody behind me in our picture up there. Drew's the big guy. We call him the big guy. Jordan's taller than me. Chuck's taller than Jordan, and I'm the short one of the group. I'm about 5'10", though.
I think I'm gonna be a little bit closer to like Justine's height.
Okay. Yeah. Are we over 5 foot?
We are over 5 foot.
Okay. All right. My mama's 5 foot.
Maybe
right
just,
at 5 foot.
Maybe
So
a
she
little
comes
bit over 5 foot.
my shoulder right here with her hair fixed on the day. So
okay.
It shows you. I think you learn. Of course, we're all in an era with COVID forced people to do this. It kind of fast forwarded probably a decade or better the need and the ability to remote work but you miss some of those internal connections. Like there's something still about being in a room with the person and getting to feel them. And because like you said, it just jogged my memory. Victoria is like Marty. If you meet Marty in person, like it totally, but what you meet on a call or a Zoom call or something. And Lauren's maybe you would say it, but you probably felt that way about me sometimes. It's like, who is this guy? And he's on this call and it's just like, and of course, Chuck does Chuck's thing, Jordan. Chuck gets on and we lose a solid 5 minutes the beginning of every call.
I think
this week was especially, we lost like 10 this week. And he said he was going to quit talking and he couldn't help himself. But
yeah,
it's okay.
He tries really hard, but he gets
does.
to a point, and it's just I don't know that he realizes the
you
word
see coming out.
It's just like everything out. Everything's coming out at once. And,
but I think all of that came from digital forms of communication, and you don't have tone when you're reading what someone's saying. Like there's no tone associated.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're first getting used to Zoom, you're maybe just like, you don't have as much emotion, like you're not actually here. So that's like a learned and different practice that you have to do to feel comfortable on video, make other people feel comfortable on video. And it's just so funny. And for me, my family always taught me, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So when I get any emails, I'm like, oh, geez. What's going on? Like, how can I fix this? And I kind of think like it could be the worst thing when he said that email of like, I need to speak with you.
No, I get you.
So
it's the nonverbal things that
Victoria does a really good job about that for our team. And like Carlton Creative, like when she sends us emails or sends something, I know she'll say, hey, don't worry, this isn't anything bad. I just wanted to touch base with you. But that's just like the culture of being fully remote and just stewarding what that looks like with like your team.
Well, you all get together frequently. I see where you all get together and we think that's important. We got 3 different remote offices and a majority of our team, but it's still important for you to get together and have those human moments and feel each other. Some people have a presence about them and you can't feel that over a camera. I mean, and you can in an acting format, maybe you can in nonverbal cues, you can feel warmth and smiles but there's still something about in person. We're at 40 minutes and Lauren's watching the clock and she's going to tell us to cut. So I'm going to go to the last question, Jordan, before you get a chance. Best example of a marketing campaign that you all have seen in your time in the industry. And you could just do a recap of the Super Bowl commercials like we did on the call this week if you all thought a couple of them were cool. Or what's the best marketing campaign you when you think of like top 3, what would you all say? Top 1?
So I love Super Bowl commercials. That's my favorite time of the year. But what I had prepared to tell you guys about today is something that I think is even more important is when your brand name becomes synonymous with the product. Anytime a brand can achieve that, it's incredible. They've won hands down and they're going to win for years to come. The biggest kind of probably most recent one I'll say is Google, right? You always say, can just Google that. Whether you actually use Google as your browser or anyone else, guess what? They won. It's Google. They're the top dog now because no one says that in any other word because now it's like a verb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good example. Yeah.
It is.
Lauren, what about you? Top 3 brands. What brands stand out to you? Put you on the spot.
So I'll go kind of the Super Bowl route. Okay. Ones that I think like this year that were memorable honestly was like State Farm. I hate to say it, but the Temu ones, as much as I didn't love them, they were memorable because they put just a jingle and slogan that was like, okay, now I just remember it simply because of the way that it was done. I personally don't love it, but it was memorable, and which means they achieved at least something to where they wanted people to remember what that was. I think last year's I think it was Sling TVs where it was like the QR code bouncing around and like, or it turning off. Like that was just also creative to me. I thought that was a different take on how most people perceive like an ad, wherever they see it.
Yep. Jordan, do you have any that was memorable?
I didn't get to watch as many commercials this year because I was cooking, I was cleaning, I was taking care of the kids, I was yelling at the kids, and Jimmy, maybe not as much in the cleaning, all right, but I was cooking and I was watching. But no, I mean, I don't.
First time I'm hearing this, but okay.
I like to cook. I just don't like to clean. And if someone was on here, she'd tell you I don't, but I think that I do. But I don't know. I mean, the only one that I can really think of, but see, the problem is, I think you get into some of these commercials and they're great, but you can't remember what it was about. And I remember the one with like, it was Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, and Tom Brady, and like I remember all them, and it was funny, but I don't really. What was that?
Dunkings. I think it was Dunkin' Donuts.
Right? Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts. But I think what Victoria said is pretty neat, and I've thought the same things in the past. Is when you use something. Because I'm trying to think of another example. There are plenty of examples. Definitely Google, but there's some others, and you can do it with drinks. You can do it like do you want a Coke, right, or do you want whatever it may be, Doritos? And I think there's some of those that it's just known across the world. And I think that's pretty unique. So that's the next goal for Carlton Creative and Jimmy. Is say just call Zion. Get rid of the word system integration. Just Zion it, and yeah, it'll be good.
Right there,
right,
it's everywhere. They see that, they know it's the Z. Right?
And it's a very attainable goal. So I'm excited for it. Right,
easy.
Yeah, Jordan. The only thing I'll say is you missed Duncan. They've been using Ben Affleck for a long time, kind of as their spokesperson.
Yeah.
So like he's becoming synonymous with Duncan, and I totally agree though. Like some celebrities, when it's a brand new celeb, it just misses the point. And I thought the Anthony Walken commercial was hilarious, but same thing. I couldn't remember what it was for. It's for a car company, which was BMW. But this year was just like celebrity after celebrity after celebrity in every single commercial. And the only ones that are, good are the ones that can tie it back. And you must have not been looking because Ben Affleck was decked out in Duncan gear. Like they could not have been screaming Duncan.
Right.
He was cooking and cleaning, Victoria. He was cooking and cleaning.
Huh? Yeah.
Well, I've got a few, and I'm gonna wrap this up. When I think about like brands, like if you I just sitting here thinking about it, you think about like Chick-fil-A has an awesome marketing campaign with the cows and just how they've done it. And I've read the book. That's one of the books we give our new employees. It's written by their old chief or their ex-chief marketing officer, Steve Robinson, I believe is his name, but just the creativity of the cows, like it's memorable. Apple, when you look at Apple, like you think quality, you think, Apple stands alone as a brand by itself sometimes. When you think of Amazon, even though we work in the industry that serves Amazon, but you think of the smile in Prime. And so, that smile anywhere you go is like, it's more, what's the saying?
Have everything from A to Z. That's what the arrow is.
And it's pretty cool. And then, and just Coke, something classic like Coca-Cola is another one. I've traveled a lot. You all have too. If you travel across the globe, you truly feel the brand when you travel across the globe. And like Coke is, I don't know that McDonald's and Coke, you can pretty much are global brands. Yep.
And Taco Bell, oddly.
It is. Yeah. Yum in general has really gone a lot, especially in the Asian market. They've really invested heavily there, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
If we ever get there and we got the Z, it's like, that would be neat. Yep. Pepsi's, you see it, but it's not it's Pepsi Max like we did in India Jordan, when we were there a couple weeks ago, or
Yep.
a month ago, whatever it was.
It's like Coke has just developed this culture of like it's Coke
has.
and nothing else, like nothing can compare. And I love when someone's like, I used to work in a restaurant when I was younger, and it would be, we have Pepsi. No, I don't want that then. Not even gonna buy it, not gonna touch
Right.
it.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, ladies, we're at time. Really enjoyed it. It's funny how 40, 50 minutes can just fly by, and we've just been talking and enjoying it. And thank you all very much. Definitely appreciate both of you all and all that you do for us, and hoping that our industry really needs a marketing refresh. They do. I feel like Zion, we have a very fresh approach to marketing, and that's a result of the collaboration with you all. And we've seen that, and just we've seen that heard that from people. And so again, just like you and Jordan had the conversation, it's like, what better affirmation than to hear your peers say, I notice what you're doing, or why are you doing that? And so I feel like we've set the bar to some extent for that, for a brand our size and for a newer brand emerging out. And that's a big part of it's been you all. And I've enjoyed it. I think we learn, I learn daily and weekly, and how we can do things differently. And we're going to continue to do that and push the boundaries a little bit and try new things and enjoy it. And it's all about developing the brand. I think this year we've talked a lot about, most of the people that have known us, is we've focused a whole lot of attaching the founders to the brand, and we really want to turn the page, and it's about our team. We want to attach our team to the brand more this year. And you all have heard me say that. I think that's an evolution of our strategy. And then it's more about, people know who we are now. They know what Zion is. They know what we do, but it's really more of an emphasis on, okay, what do you really do? The technical aspect of it, to where it really gets the flywheel spinning on the sales engine and just gets people excited about the products we represent and the creativity that Jordan and the team have, and just the memorable experience that we deliver. I think we're going to have exciting. We'll have to reboot this in 18 months and see how it's evolved and how it's changed. And thank you all both. Appreciate it. Jordan, you did a nice job. I may just permanently delegate this to you. And I kind of like getting called on instead of having to do the leading. It works out well.
Right. Yeah.
Jordan's like,
No,
yeah,
I do. Yeah. I do want to end us so we don't completely go over. We're at 48 minutes, but I just echo Jimmy's comments. Thanks for getting on. Enjoy what you guys do. Thankful for what you guys do. I've enjoyed getting to know you over the past 2 years. I've had a weekly invite for the marketing meeting for 2 years. I think I've made 3, but I'm going to try much harder to make some more in the future. So we're gonna get it going. And I'll just be a Chuck Jr. And we talked about Big Jim earlier. I'll be a Chuck Jr. and we'll get nothing done in 60 minutes. So it's gonna be great. A lot of good conversations.
Well, thank you both.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you guys. Good to see you too.
Yeah. You too.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.